You know that gnawing feeling when someone asks, "So, what do you do?" And your brain short circuits. You freeze because the answer isn't simple. You aren't just one thing. You are a complex mix of contradicting interests, and explaining it feels impossible. You are simultaneously a graphic designer who codes, someone who writes poetry on weekends, studies neuroscience for fun, and just started learning woodworking. To the outside world, this looks scattered. Inside, you feel like there is something fundamentally broken about you. That feeling hits hard, the conviction that you lack focus. While everyone else seemed to pick a lane years ago, you have been out here collecting skills like Pokemon cards. You worry that you are falling behind, a master of absolutely nothing. But here is the plot twist. You might actually be the most valuable person in the room by 2030. While others were busy digging deeper into a single narrow tunnel, you were building a unique map of the world. The narrative is flipping. For years, the world made you feel weird about it. Jack of all trades, master of none, they would whisper. Career advisors looked at your resume like it was written in alien hieroglyphics. You need to focus, they said. Just pick one thing. But here is what they didn't tell you. The world just changed its mind about what valuable looks like. It turns out your brain has been preparing for this specific moment your entire life. The game has changed under everyone's feet. See, for the last century, society praised the specialist. The world was predictable, almost like a chessboard. Success meant going a mile deep in one narrow field. Psychologists call this a kind learning environment. It rewards repetition and singular expertise. But that is not the world we live in anymore. We are now in what experts call a wicked learning environment. The rules constantly change. Feedback is delayed. Patterns aren't obvious. Old maps don't work here anymore. Think about the difference between a golfer and a firefighter. A golfer operates in a kind environment where rules never change. A firefighter works in a wicked one. Every situation is new, the rules are unknown, and textbook knowledge might not apply. In a wicked world, the hyper-specialist develops blind spots. They can't see outside their tunnel. But you? You have been training for wicked your entire life. There is actually a term for people like you, M-shaped professionals. Think of the letter M. The opposite is the I-shaped person, the specialist with one single deep pillar of knowledge. Then there is the dash-shaped person, a mile wide and an inch deep. That is the trap many fall into. The dash-shaped approach is dangerous. Knowing a little about everything but having no real foundation creates anxiety because you have no ground to stand on. You feel unstable, floating without a tether. But the M-shaped professional is different. Picture it like this. Maybe your first leg is software engineering. You go deep there. That pays the bills. It provides stability. But you don't stop there. You prepare to build a second foundation to support your unique structure. Your second leg might be user psychology. You go deep there too. Now you have two solid feet, and those horizontal bars connecting them, that is your interest in design, business strategy, and neuroscience bridging the gap. Suddenly, you aren't just another unfocused developer. You become the person who builds products people actually love because you understand both the technical constraints and what makes humans tick. That combination is rare. That combination is incredibly valuable. The World Economic Forum just proved it. Their Future of Jobs report dropped a bomb. 39% of workers' core skills will change by 2030. Not evolve, change completely. The skills rising fastest are creative thinking and flexibility. They value analytical thinking paired with the ability to synthesize across domains. Translation: the future belongs to people who can pivot between worlds. But let's be honest about what this actually requires from you right now. You can't build all your pillars at once. That leads back to being the dash-shaped person a mile wide and an inch deep. That creates anxiety. The secret to becoming M-shaped is something called serial mastery. You pick one pillar and commit to it for a season, maybe 6 to 18 months. You build one leg until it is strong, until you have mastered the core 80%. Not world-class expert level, just fluent enough. When your curiosity in that area feels satisfied, you make a conscious choice. This isn't quitting like a dabbler running from difficulty. This is strategic quitting. It is a graduation. You deliberately choose to begin your next pillar. The anxiety comes from the choice itself, right? Which pillar do you build first? You freeze, paralyzed by the fear that choosing one path means abandoning all the others forever. But here is the secret to breaking the paralysis. Lower the stakes. You aren't choosing for the rest of your life. you are choosing for this season. Pick the one that creates the most stability, or the one with the most energy right now. Just pick one. Because here is what happens when you move between disciplines. You aren't just collecting random skills, you are training your brain in something called far transfer. This is your superpower. A specialist uses near transfer, applying a skill to a very similar problem. But you see the underlying structure in one field and apply it to a completely different one. A person who understands the branching structure of a tree's root system might suddenly see a better way to organize a company's database. The patterns match, even if the subjects don't. A musician who understands harmony might look at software code and see a more elegant structure. That is far transfer. It is seeing the music, not just the notes. And all those seemingly random interests you've collected, they aren't clutter. They form the very library of metaphors you will pull from to create breakthrough insights. This is what AI can't do. It can't stand at the intersection of technology and human emotion and figure out what actually matters. It lacks the soul to bridge those worlds. Now, I won't pretend this path is easy. Being M-shaped means your career path looks more like a Jackson Pollock painting than a straight ladder. It is messy, but it is art. But remember Kodak? Blockbuster? Specialists thriving in a rapidly changing world is like being the world's best typewriter repairman in 2024. Technically impressive, but economically irrelevant. Meanwhile, you have been training for uncertainty this whole time. Every time you dove into a new interest, you were practicing adaptability. You learned how to surf the waves of change. You might need to reframe your day job. Many great polymaths had stable jobs that didn't drain them. Einstein was a patent clerk, the stable ground that allowed his mind to wander the universe. A low-drain job leaves you with surplus mental energy. A high-passion, high-stress job might sound exciting, but if it consumes 110% of you, there is no room left for the exploration your brain craves. The final piece. You need a system. Your brain is a high-output idea factory, but your working memory is like a tiny workbench. If you don't clear the bench, you can't build anything new. When you get fascinated with something, take notes. Put them in a digital vault. Then, when the obsession fades, you can let it go without guilt, knowing it is safe for later. 3 years from now, you might stumble upon those old notes. You realize the structure of a cathedral is exactly like this new website. That is the moment of magic connecting dots across time. Companies are starting to hire for this. They aren't asking for your specialty. They are asking for your unique combination. Creative technologists, data strategists, human-centric leaders. Innovation comes from idea synthesis. It comes from stealing an idea from architecture and applying it to software. It only happens when you have multiple spikes of knowledge to draw from. You are a scanner, a potential polymath. Your brain is designed to be a bridge between different worlds of knowledge. Build your pillars, but never forget the bridges. You were never meant to master just one thing. You were meant to be the person who can see how everything connects. Welcome to the M-shaped